calls and act like we're in a room listening to a guest speaker, because we are going to listen to someone today. So we want to be attentive. So we're going to be muted until you're called on to speak, because that way it can be kind of orderly, because we're going to have 30 plus people here today. So I just want to go over some things. First of all, if technology kicks you off, try to get back on. If you can't, the world isn't going to end. The walls aren't going to fall in. We're not going to scold you or anything. That's technology. But what we're going to do now is we're going to just do a little bit of an overview. Okay, so you have your screen and you have your microphone button, which looks like a little microphone. If it's got, and Sophia put up a image, if it's got a line through it, like you see the little camera there, that means they cannot hear you. If you want to speak, you want to make sure that that line isn't there by clicking on it. Where the headphones are in the picture, you will see a microphone. If you are on, if you're having trouble getting on, that's where you choose your audio, where those little headphones are. But what we want to do is we want to notice that today we're going to have closed captioning. So there's a closed captioning button. So if you want that to be on and it's not on, you hit that button, and then you'll be able to see words of the people speaking today. We have that feature. Also, since we're asking you to raise your hand on a computer, if you go to participants on the bottom of the screen, you will then see, a bunch of people listed, but on the bottom, you will see a blue hand and it'll say raise hand. And what that'll do is it'll let us know that you want to talk. So, then we will call on you to speak. And to take that down, you just hit it again and it'll take it off. Now, again, we just want to say that if you want to chat or send anything in the chat, there's the chat button or the 3 dots on your mobile device, and you'll be able to chat with everyone or someone privately. But again, we want to be respectful of people speaking and everything like that. But so wait until you're called on to speak. And there's a lot of people on the call, so we want to give people else a chance to call on you. If we don't get to you or something like that, don't get too mad at us, because we're doing the best that we can. So now, without further ado, we are going to hand it over to Arnold Eckerly from the Self-Advocacy Association.
Hey, everybody. So I'm Arnold I'm the administrative director. If there's anyone new on the call today, we've been doing this for a couple weeks. It's great to see everybody. I just did want to jump back to a couple questions on the tech stuff, just to make sure everybody's clear. So Mike, one question I have is I think some people may still have a problem with raising the hand virtually. So is somebody on the background doing kind of a scan of people, just in case somebody needs to just actually raise their hand in the video?
Okay. Yes, we have with Sophia, and if Sue's on, Sue also looks at the background in the chat, because I can't do, I have trouble with some of that. So those ladies are helping me out, and I'm very thankful for that.
Okay. And for anyone that dials in, the only thing they'll probably be able to do is wait for a pause and then try to get our attention that they would
like. We do know that it's difficult for the people dialing in by phone, so we take that into account as best we can.
All right, great. All right, everyone. So really quick, just want to let you know that Roger Bearden from OPWDD, he's the Executive Deputy Commissioner. He's on. I just want to say thank you for that. And BJ Stasio, our president, is also on. So he's going to do an introduction, let you know a little bit about Roger, what he does, and why he's on the call today, okay?
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Roger, for being on the call today. And Roger, Arnold, and I are on COVID-19 update calls, and I would like to thank Roger for taking all my questions and answering them as best as he can, as I know he will today. And please give him an opportunity to answer the question before moving on to other questions, please. And if there are board members on, which I see some are, please refer your questions to myself and Arnold, and we will get them to Roger, and Roger will provide an answer if he can. That's for board members. Thank you.
BJ, let me just say something to the board members about that. And the reason for that, for the board members, is we have the opportunity regularly to have dialogue with OPWDD administration. So we want to really give the opportunity today to other self-advocates on the line. Okay, thank you.
Okay, then what we're going to do is Roger's going to speak for a minute, and we're going to focus our questions on what he's talking about. So we want to make sure that we're not talking about grandma's chicken soup. We're gonna focus on what Roger is talking about and wants to know from us. So without further ado, take it away, Roger.
Well, thank you very, very much for the opportunity to speak with you all. And particularly, there are people who I only know by email addresses, and now I get to see, for example, Mike is currently on a spaceship, and BJ, I'm a little concerned that you appear to be at a Red Sox game, because that isn't really very consistent with the social distancing, but I'm glad the Red Sox are doing well. And I see in the chat that somebody is a Yankees fan, so, you know, that's excusable, I guess. Who am I? I am the Executive Deputy Commissioner at OPWDD. Above me in the agency is the Commissioner, and then the rest of the agency kind of works under me. I am responsible for running the day-to-day operations of OPWDD. Which in the last couple of months has been, you know, a very, very interesting job, as we, I think, collectively are trying to address something that I think nobody possibly anticipated, and is, I think, very, very challenging at all levels for all of us. And I want to begin by just acknowledging how hard the last 2 months have been, and how much and how important it is that we've been working together as a community, both those of us like myself who have a responsibility to help the state with its response, and each one of you who is working both to sustain yourself, but also helping those around you, which is, you know, what self-advocacy is all about. To kind of talk a little bit about some of the things we've been trying to do, and just to kind of step back, it was March 2nd that the first reported case of COVID-19 in New York State. So it's 2 months and 4 days ago. And then on March 11th was the first case of an individual with a developmental disability with a positive case. And so it's been less than 2 months. What we did at OPWDD, once we knew that there was an impact on our system, almost immediately we developed what we called an emergency operations center. So we have we wanted to create a rapid response to the situation. We have senior members of staff working 8 to 8, and they're on 7 days a week, and it's been like that since March 8th. That Emergency Operations Center also maintains a 24/7, all the time call center emergency operations component so that we can respond as quickly as we can. I think our first set of activities really related to figuring out what does it look like to be containing the virus? What kind of guidance does there need to be for different types of providers, individuals, etc. In early and mid-March, we were issuing 4 and 5 new guidance documents every day. And that was a pace we were maintaining because as new things were being learned, initially we didn't understand how is it communicated? Is it communicated when people already have symptoms or don't have symptoms? All of those kinds of things are things that we were working through and developing. And I'm very, very appreciative to BJ and to Arnold for pointing out that we needed to make some of those materials available in plain language, and you've been very helpful in helping us. There is always an issue where we are trying to be both precise with medical terminology and precise in letting people know what needs to happen, and at the same time, making sure that we are accessible. And I think you guys have been really, really helpful. We've been, as is mentioned, communicating as frequently as we possibly can. Once again, we have a lot of different types of stakeholders. We have certainly self-advocates. We have obviously family advocates. We have providers of different types. We have the Department of Health. We have a lot of different entities. We have cities and municipalities, and a large part, and one of the things that we learned, because OPWDD also has had to change very much and learn on how to respond to this situation, is how important it is to communicate, how important it is to communicate really, really frequently. And that's what we're trying to live that mantra. So from the guidance, obviously we did close day programming, the congregate day programming. Initially, some of the really big outbreaks in New York City, which is obviously where the focus was, were connected to day programming. So where individuals were being served by a particular day program provider and then going back to different group homes. This was a group home issue principally. You had people riding in a bus together and unfortunately communicating the virus to each other. And this all happened prior to us really knowing what was going on in the larger system. This was very early, and we saw that if we kept these congregate day hab programs open, we would be really unable to contain the virus. So that's why we closed on March 18th all the day programs, and we were really thoughtful about that because that's 55,000 people. That's how they get their services during the day. So it wasn't a decision that we made lightly, but it was something that seemed to be the right decision, and I think it was. So we've been in this pause scenario for about 6 or 7 weeks, and I think one of the really biggest challenges is the social isolation, is the inability to be participating in the community, kind of everything that we build our system to accomplish, which is that people live the lives of their choosing, that they live in the community. All of that is really isn't happening right now, and that's incredibly difficult on everyone. And so we're trying to figure out now, how do we unpause, and how do we do so in a way that is doesn't create the exact same problems that required the pause, right? How do we prioritize what we unpause? We obviously need to follow the governor's lead. What regions do we unpause in first, and which programs do we look at first? And one of the hardest parts is we do have very large day programs where we bring a lot of people together from a lot of different places, be they homes of their own or a group home. And how do we do that program without creating the very problem that we're confronting in the first place. I do think that let me just kind of why don't I just stop there? That's sort of the outline of what we did do and what we're trying to figure out as we move forward. I'm happy to go into any amount of detail, but I do know that there was a desire for this to be a kind of a question and answer format. So let me just pause there, turn the mic back over to whomever from SANYS is kind of, I think it's Mike Rogers, is leading the discussion, and ask that you take it over from there. Mike?
Sure, Roger. And again, we're going to ask questions about COVID. Hold on a second, I'm getting my video going again. About COVID, and what Roger wants to address with that, and then we'll move on. Remember, we want to keep it on topic. So let's see here.
Has his hand up?
Jonathan.
I tried to unmute you, John. I think you'll have to unmute yourself. It won't let me unmute you. And then after John, it looks like Maggie McLean.
I had an idea with these day head programs, maybe instead of having a big group, maybe split up into smaller groups.
I think that's an excellent idea. The question that we kind of need to think through is, how do you make that operational, right? So how does the staff ratios work? Do you need to stagger when people come in? Somebody does the morning, another group comes in the afternoon, but then what is the group that doesn't have a place to go that, during the other time? What do they do? So yeah, absolutely. Some proposal around that, some ideas around that, I think are going to definitely need to be the way we look at things.
Sure.
Yep.
Maggie.
Well, my question is in the chat, but I decided to talk instead. Roger, you may not be able to answer this question at all. Erie County we don't know when Erie County is going to reopen. It's obviously not going to reopen on May 15th because we are not meeting the criteria that Governor Cuomo issued. Can't remember the issues anymore, but I was wondering if service agencies are going to reopen and do like they have, and we get to see our community have workers and like do like evening activities. Supplemental day have, I think they're called.
Yeah, so right now Dayhab generally has been closed under the commissioner's order, right? So and that was across the board anything, right? That was the order that was issued, I believe, on March 18th, around the same time that the school closures, everything else was just, shutting down because of to stem the epidemic. What we're looking at now is what can we reopen without, just replicating the problem. So I think that, our thinking, and it's not, we don't have all the answers. The point of talking to people is to improve your thinking, right? Is that we're trying to look at those kinds of services that may create the least risk for individuals while also, improving their lives. So, and there's a lot of tough questions there, right? If you look at certain employment support services, if the type of employer isn't open yet, it's kind of meaningless to say, here's your employment support service and for some people, unfortunately, the jobs may no longer not be there, right? Whether they have a disability or they're, someone who does not have an identified disability, that's, our economy isn't what it was, 2 months ago. So we're trying to look at are there certain types of activities we can reopen, and maybe regionally or maybe by type of activity, that won't recreate the same problems that required us to close everything down. So it may be something like the previous questioner, suggested, which was a little bit of day hab spaced out with a little bit, with different shifts, if you will. But then if that's what's happening, we have to figure out what, if a person who's going back to work, say an individual who lives with their family members, right? And they need that day hab program in order for that parent to go back to work, how does that fit? If it's a residence, the person lives in a certified residence, how does that work? So it's what we're working through. We're trying to get our providers to think about it because they obviously play an important role in actually, rendering the service. And it's obviously something that we're trying to think through with, we have state operated services, we have state operated day hab, we have state operated group homes. So we absolutely, we're trying to figure out what the safest and most sensible thing to do. Probably the thing that we would be least likely to do is just simply reopen a 200-person day hab program and pretend that the world is exactly the same as it was, 2 months ago. That's the least likely strategy. But we're talking about it constantly, trying to figure it out, and we don't have the answers. But that's the nature of the thinking we're having. Hope that helps.
So basically, it is better to call my agency and ask them.
No, they're not going to necessarily have any better idea at this point either. I mean, I think what we're likely to be doing is asking agencies to develop social distancing plans, to say, how are you going to render services? But that's not something that we haven't issued that directive yet. That's the kind of thing we're thinking about. So we would probably say, agency X, we noticed that you have, I'll just make a simple world, 200-person day hab program. We suggest to you that perhaps that might not be the best idea given the reality of this virus. What are your plans for, potentially serving individuals in a more socially distant, way? And that's the kind of thing we're thinking about. But we haven't issued that guidance document just yet.
And are you based in Albany, just like Arnold?
I am based in Albany, absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Maggie. Next, we have Mohammed.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you to do something really quick, though?
Sure.
Almost doubled participants since Rogers started speaking. Can you just give a quick recap to everybody, just who Roger is and why we're asking questions and what we're asking questions about right now?
Sure. I'll just make it abridged. Roger is from OPWDD. We are asking, he is basically going to speak to us about, COVID and things related to that. And also, if we have time, about, the current budget issues. So those are the two things. and he's asking for our questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to be responding to him question wise, and then he can hopefully try to answer those as best as possible. So that's what we're doing today. And we want to be respectful by waiting to be called on to talk so that everybody hopefully will get a chance to comment or question. Okay. Thank you very much, Arnold. I appreciate that. Mohammed, you've been waiting for a while.
Yes, I have like 3 questions for Roger.
Yeah.
My first question is, you said like the day have programs. Are there going to be day have programs if the government opens it? Is it going to be 6 feet distance too, or and also and to the other question was I like the idea of having separate day have hours for people like who it could be like 4 or 6. And the other question was the COVID-19. Do you have a database? How many people are surviving with disability and who passed away? Do you have a database for that?
Mohammed, let me try to answer each of those questions in turn. So in terms of the day hab, I think what we're going to be looking at is for our for those providers of that service to be coming forward with basically plans that achieve social distancing, so they can include some of the items that you discussed and were discussed by the prior questioners, meaning what are the social distancing, what is the spacing, etc. And the answer to the question of data, yes, we have been collecting data, and I'm just trying to get the most recent numbers for you. So we've had, let me just find the numbers. Let me keep going on the questions, and I'm just searching my systems for the data. It's just going to take me a second.
You gave us last week, if you want me to share those, or do you have?
Yeah, that would be great. That's exactly the numbers I was looking for, Arnold. I just didn't happen to have that item up on my screen.
So as of last Thursday, the numbers that OPWDD released were 2,139 people with IDD or in the service system in some way were diagnosed with COVID-19, and unfortunately 319 people have passed away.
Okay, thank you, Arnold. Okay, next we have Stephen. You've been waiting for a while. Stephen.
Yeah, I had a question for you, Roger. I work for ASA National Institutions Limited. Is there going to be distancing in the offices where I work, and all offices?
Yeah, so I didn't get the name of the company you work for. It's some kind of private company.
Yeah, I work for a nonprofit, in Long Island. So I just wanted to know,
gotcha,
if we're going to have different shifts, or we're going to have everybody come in at once, because we have different things going on in Plainview, and rehabs programs here in Long Island.
Okay, so what, the approach the state is taking at this point is both regional and by kind of service sector. So the governor has made clear, and I think that somebody made a reference to it earlier, there are certain criteria regarding reopening that needs to be met. There's actually a chart that is displayed on what's called the New York Forward, and that they are, and I think downstate, generally speaking, is, meets fewer of the metrics because obviously having had the brunt of the crisis. So I think what is happening, initially, I know that manufacturing is one of the industries that is being moved forward in certain regions, and how the state has been approaching it is requiring those providers of, those manufacturing companies to essentially come up with social distancing plans. How are you going to achieve your business with meeting the criteria? I anticipate, though I don't know for certain, that as each sort of piece of this comes out, so depending upon how your particular employer is characterized, there will be essentially a requirement that the particular employer come up with a plan for how to achieve social distancing at a particular workplace. And so that will be something where the state will give kind of the overall criteria, and then it's up to the specific employer to come up with that plan. Something similar is what I anticipate we will do with respect to, say, day hab providers, right? We'll say, you have to come up with a plan that meets the following standards and submit it to OPWDD for review. So depending upon what specifically that employer of yours does, that will kind of be how I'm anticipating that that the rollout will occur.
Yes, we have a bunch of them. We have Sean next.
Hi, Roger. I'm Sean from the west side, from Lydecker. And they're just mandating my staff to the houses that have COVID-19. And I'm just afraid that I'm going to get COVID.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question. You reside in a state-operated group
Yes.
home, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and the staff have been mandated to your home?
No.
Meaning overtime, or I'm sorry?
No, my staff has been going to these other group homes on Lydecker that have COVID. My question is, for the safety of me, am I going to get COVID from the staff going to these other houses that are on Lydecker that have COVID-19 cases?
Okay, I see what you're asking. So I need to just touch base with the state ops team. I mean, there are staff who move between homes because that is, that is part of kind of the care model. And in serving and treating individuals, they should be using the appropriate precautions so as not to transmit the virus to themselves and therefore not transmit it to others. I want to make sure that people are following the right processes and rules. And since it's state ops, I have an ability to follow up with that team there. So I don't know enough about the specifics of what's actually going on at your particular home to be able to answer it. But I want to make sure that I'm addressing it.
And another thing is they only have limited supplies PPE for the staff. Protective gear.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're asking. My understanding, based upon the reporting I get, is that we have adequate PPE for all of our state operations staff. Now, I sit in Albany, and I'm looking at an overall report about, we've got 1,032 state operated group homes across the state. So I see a report that says, how much PPE do they have? Is this adequate? What's their burn rate, which is the amount that they, consume? And all those numbers are positive in the sense of there is enough PPE for each of these homes. But when you raise a specific issue, I want to make sure that that's in fact true, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
And,
so let me follow up.
Okay, and another thing, staff has been taking the PPD things home with them too. So that's
That-
another thing that needs to be handled a lot better too.
Okay, thank you,
I will,
Sean.
I will look into that, both of those things. Those are important points. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we have Hannah. We'll go to Hannah next.
Hi, Roger. I wanted to know, what are you doing? Like, how much of the masks do you actually have for all of the group homes? Because, as Stephen said, I know Stephen has said it before, which is a lot of the group homes have been walking around without a mask on. Do you have any supplies of masks, or how much masks do we actually have for all the other group homes out there?
Now, are you speaking, just to be clear, about state-operated group homes or ones run by nonprofit?
Both.
Okay, so yeah, because the answer is a little bit different, just in terms of how PPE is obtained. So
Okay.
for the state-run group homes, we have a process on a weekly basis. We submit. Hang on a second. Sorry. And I'm sorry. I am recalling that I needed to make sure that our submission, which is due right now, actually went in. So I was just sending an email to make sure that happens. There's a weekly process by which every state agency is able to. There's a state stockpile, if you will, of PPE along different categories: gloves, masks, etc. And then every Wednesday, actually, we make that that request, and then we have a distribution network where OPWDD, are sending out trucks from the central Albany location out to the group homes. And so that's when I was referring to the previous person's question about that process. And I see the requests as they come in. I see our needs. The only thing, frankly, that the state has had some challenges with are gowns. That's been a thing that's been in very short supply.
Yeah, because I've been seeing a lot of people. I've been seeing a lot of people wear garbage bags, like for our nurses and doctors and stuff.
There's been a statewide shortage of gowns. It's not that we're not it's the medical supply chain problem. On the nonprofit side, it's a little bit different. They are supposed to go through their county offices of emergency. So first of all, if they can buy them themselves, super. If they can't, then they go through county offices of emergency management. And the process that we've set up with our providers is to say, if you have a problem, if you can't get what you need, here's how you let us know. So we don't necessarily know if a particular not-for-profit provider has a problem unless they tell us, because they actually, and so, and there have been a few instances, certainly early on, where we took some PPE out of the state stockpile and gave it to a provider because there was a critical shortage. That supply chain is sort of leveled out now, so I'm not aware of, in the last, say, 4 to 5 weeks, any provider coming to us and saying, I have a critical shortage, I can't, and it happened a few times. I can't get my staff to come in the morning, and so we took a truck, threw some PPE on it, and got it to them, which I'm very proud that we were able to do that. So right now, I think that as best I understand it, the supply and the demand are sort of okay. And obviously the governor is kind of talking a lot about how do we use the opportunity of having slowed the spread of the virus to, every hospital should have a 90-day stockpile, that sort of stuff, as we look to whatever phase 2 looks like. So I hope that answers the question.
That did, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just to do a little bit of a time check, we have a little bit less than 20 minutes, and we want to get some more questions here. So we have JB.
I was asking, what about community hab? When could we go back? And I don't know when I'm starting, but I'm in a nonprofit agency. I'm not through the state, except from the South Advocacy Association. But I'm wondering if you know when all community hab can go back to work and take us out. And Hannah, the mask that I have, someone made. So if you know anyone who could sew and who does, who makes masks, you can ask for it on your own. Because that's what I did.
Thank you, JB.
And on the mask point also, we actually just, and it's a reminder, we just got 250,000 cloth masks. Hanes, which makes the underwear, gave us some masks. So we're working actually through the CCOs and the regional offices to try to identify any individuals, and this is specifically masks that individuals may need. Why 250,000? They offered me 250,000. I'm never one to say no to, free stuff. So now I've got 250,000 masks that we're going to be distributing out. So it's something that if there are anybody who needs a cloth masks or wants a second one, if they already have one, we have a supply. We're working with our regional offices, and I'll ask, and it occurs to me, if you haven't connected Arnold and BJ to Abiba, she can give you some details on how that should work. In terms of the ComHab, I think as soon as, at this point, there is no region that has unpaused. All of the regions in New York State are on pause. So my anticipation is that as regions begin to unpause, some as early as, I think the 15th would be the earliest that we're talking about, that's when ComHab in particular could begin to be delivered in the community. If people are allowed to go to parks, there's no reason that an individual with their ComHab worker couldn't go to the park. Obviously, if the bowling alley is closed, you can't go bowling. So I assume that what we're going to be working on in the next, whatever it is, 9 days, I guess, that ComHab is the thing that is going to be most likely to restart, but then again, only in those regions where the larger society is more open. So it's just going to kind of rise and fall with that, if that makes sense. Like
downstate?
Downstate, right now the issue is, I see you're in San Francisco, by the way, so I'm not,
In Rochester.
I think that it's going to follow. I mean, the best guide I would give is if you go to that New York Forward website and see where the regions are in terms of their ranking about, open, how likely are they to be open. There's not going to be opening up ComHab in a region which is not also open for other people, right? For other things. And so I think we're just going to come up and down together. Mike, who's my next question?
Sure, we have, now we're going to go to Cassie. I'm going to choose Cassie.
Roger.
What is that?
This is BJ. I addressed Sean's concerns with Western administration, it'll be all taken care of, so you don't have to worry about that one.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go to Cassie.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Roger. My name is Cassie Rafushi, and I'm from the New York City, Westchester region. I received some news just this past weekend that a friend of mine that I am a part of HeartShare Human Services of New York City, that I participate in the respite recreation group, passed away from the COVID-19 just this weekend. And since I'm a part of HeartShare, they haven't been in communication with us throughout this pandemic. So I want to know. So I would like to know. Isn't HeartShare Human Services of New York supposed to contact us individuals that was in contact with this individual and be tested? They haven't done nothing throughout this pandemic.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry very, very much for your loss. It's really it's been hard, and I'm sad for that. In terms of HeartShare, you have been receiving a respite service from them?
No, I am a part of. I participate in their respite recreation programs. I do weekend getaways with them. I'm a part of a respite recreation group's activities.
Okay, thank you. And
you're welcome.
So the question that I'm going to have to follow up on is, so we said to any provider of a day service, like that can't be, no respite, no weekend respite recreation is happening right now, right? So our and just like there's no day program, there's a lot of things that aren't happening. And we said to providers of those programs, we are going to pay you, even though you're not providing services, something we call the retainer day. I'm not 100%, we said 80%, okay. But what you need to do in exchange for that payment is you need to do something. You can't do respite right now, fine. You need to reach out to individuals. You need to see how you can be useful, right? We're going to give you some money. We're not going to give you money just for sitting around and doing nothing. What I'm hearing from you is that, at least in your particular example, you're not getting any support, not getting any help from HeartShare. They're not maybe earning the payment that we're giving them. So I want to follow back up with our regional office to find out, did HeartShare take the money, and figure out what if anything they're doing? Because if they took the money and didn't do anything for you, that's obviously, as the funder and as the regulator, a concern.
Excuse me. No, it's not. I totally understand where you're going, but I'm just saying they haven't been in communication, keeping us up to date with the pandemic. Like, for example, I'm a part of AHRC. They have been in communication with us individuals throughout this whole pandemic. I don't understand why HeartShare has not been in communication. Like, it's unacceptable. Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. I will, Arnold or BJ, if you can give me, can get a couple of pieces of information from Cassie so that I can follow up. I'd like to do that, because I do agree that it is not acceptable to fail to be in contact. And I do want to follow up, because we've got a lot of different providers, and some are doing the job and some may not be doing the job, and that's an important thing for the regulator to understand. Thank you.
We have just about 10 minutes, so we're going to take a few more questions, and then we're going to leave a chance for Roger to wrap up and give us any final thoughts.
Mike, let me say something to Cassie.
Arnold?
So Cassie, I'll have somebody out of New York City follow up with you to try to get your information clear, so they can get it over to us and we can follow up with.
I'm sorry, Arnold. What are you saying?
I'm gonna have somebody from New York City, okay? The New York City office.
I'm sorry, Arnold. Can you repeat that?
I said I'm gonna have someone from the New York City office follow up with you, because they should have your contact information and try to get, it's the clear information that you're trying to share with Roger, exactly that your questions, the situation and we can get that back to Roger for you.
I
Okay?
would really appreciate that, Arnold. Thank you so much.
Next
You want me to send you my? Never mind.
Next we have Robert Bearden. Robert.
So what's the new norm, and after stuff opens up, how long are we gonna have to wear these masks when we're in the community and at work?
Robert, that is an excellent question. I mean, I mean, you know, people say that's an excellent question when they don't have any idea what the answer is. I mean, I think the challenge we're going to have is life isn't going to be the same, right? Until we have a vaccine, until we have an effective treatment. You know, and Maggie McLean, thanks for your Zoom group chat. I'm watching that. I'm planning on wearing my mask until everybody gets a vaccine. I think it's going to become, that's a very large unanswered question, but I think it's going to be for the foreseeable future.
I can give you a semi-general answer to that. My mom works in the medical field, and she'll be the first one to tell you that this is going to be the new normal exactly until we get a vaccine that may work, and B, enough of that vaccine to give to the general population. Now, I know Mr. Trump, the big shot, is saying we'll have an effective vaccine by year's end, but in general, to get an effective vaccine, to test it, to get enough population to test it, or to even look for antibodies, it's going to take 12 to 18 months from the date the pandemic started.
Thank you, Danielle. That's a pretty complete description. And I would say the last person, because I know you've been waiting forever, and I hope you're still on, Alan. You've been waiting from the beginning, so I wanted to get you in there to be able to, you know, ask your question.
My question was more or less is, as far as self-directed, does she got any information is, how would that affect where some people need the staff and some people don't? And some people have told me, well, my staff have been told they are unable to work with me, and some people have been told, oh, my staff can work with me. It's not my choice. It's the FI's choice.
So I think we're talking about, you know, current people who have chosen to self-direct their services, and obviously there you have a worker who may ordinarily come into a home, and that worker, I know, since I've certainly heard this, that, you know, some workers have continued to provide services. One of the things we've done on a state level is try to be more flexible than we normally are in terms of the ability to, you know, use FaceTime or Zoom or those sorts of things to provide support. But there are some services, obviously, that you know, you can't do remotely, so, you know, I do know there are some people who've had their normal support worker who frankly have quit, and, you know, taken unemployment or maybe taken a different job, and that is a, you know, I mean, that's a choice that an individual worker, you know, can make. I'm not sure if I'm addressing the question, but I am aware of this situation, and it is a challenge.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. And Roger, we want to give you a moment to give any final thoughts, any additional information. Is there anything that you want us to know that you weren't able to cover after our questions?
I think the questions have been excellent and, challenging. So thank you for that. I would say that, we have tried and will continue to try to do everything we can on a state level to do two things. One is to keep people safe, and two, to help them live the lives of their choosing. And unfortunately, in the last couple of months, I don't think for anybody, the keep people safe has really led to people really living the lives that they would choose in a different circumstance. So what we are looking for, and what we are hoping to work with self-advocates to achieve, is some way of reopening, some way of working with you to help folks live lives of integration despite the virus, despite what we are combating, and to do so in a way that we're working together. I'm very, very appreciative of the opportunity to be with you. Please, if you find it useful, I am more than happy to do this again. I think that it's really, really important to keep the communication going.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on. And I have to end by saying, Roger, you only used the excellent question, comment like twice. So that is awesome. You were great. And thank you very much for coming on today. We want to thank Roger for coming on today. So let's give him virtual, like those, whatever you're doing there, or however you want to do it.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
You're hurting me out of you. No, because
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roger.
So now we're going to move right into the second half of our agenda. And I didn't get to talk to you, Sue, before this. Sorry if I missed anything, but do you want more of my help with managing things, or would you like to do that with this part?
You can go right ahead. I shared the agenda with you. I could put it up for you.
Yeah.
Now. It's helpful.
No, I got it. Got it right in front of me.
You got it.
So this is the more of the wellness section. So we have Shameka Andrews that will be doing a 30-minute meditation with us.
Thanks, Mike. I think most people know me, but I'll just introduce myself anyway. My name is Shameka Andrews, as Mike said. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator for SANYS. But one of the things that I like to do kind of on the side, or sometimes included, if you've come to the state conference, you may have seen me do meditation or attended my meditation workshop at the conference. If not, will be your first time. So I know Cassie has come. She always asks for it. What I just want to talk a little bit before we go into it. A lot of times people say, when they hear meditation, they say, well, I can't meditate because I can't quiet my mind. So I always like to say to people, for me, meditation isn't about quieting your mind, because the more you try to shut out thoughts, the more they'll come in, right? Because we can't totally stop thinking like forever, right? So don't worry about that. So it's more about focusing your mind, just coming back to the present, right? Coming back to your breath, coming back. During this, I'm going to give you a word to focus on. So just come back to that word. If you don't like my word, you can use your own word in your own head. You're all muted, so what you're thinking in your own thoughts is up to you. So if you don't like my word, you can choose a different word, or you can choose an object to focus on as we're walking through this. I see there's messages coming in the chat, but I'm not going to really focus on that. I will. I can end a little earlier, and then if people have questions, then we can address them after that. Unless there's something in the chat you think I need to address before we start.
I just want to jump in quick, Shameka, and let you know that a lot of the chats are just people going, oh, this is my first time. So just letting you know,
okay.
This is our first time.
Okay, cool. All right. So what we're going to do, again, you can do what's comfortable for you. And don't worry if you get a little sleepy. Sometimes that happens. So you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. If you don't, that's fine. You can keep your eyes open and just listen. So we're just going to start by taking 3 deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouths. Just feel how good it feels as your breath is going in and out, settling down your body, settling down your mind as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And we're going to picture the word peace floating over the top of your head like a big, bright ball of light. We're going to feel that light enter the top of our head as we breathe in and out, filling our head with a bright, white light of peace, filling our thoughts with peace, releasing any tension, any stress, any anxiety that you might feel at this moment. Just let it all go just for a minute. As we sit here and we breathe in and out, just focusing on peace, bringing peace down to our jaw as we breathe in and out, filling our jaw with this white, bright, peaceful light, releasing any tension, any stress, any anxiety that you might feel at this moment. Feel that peace move down to your neck, relaxing the muscles in your neck as you breathe in and out. Feel this peace move down to your shoulders, Relaxing your shoulders, releasing any tension, any stress, any anxiety that you might feel at this moment. Feel this peace move down to your chest, filling your chest, this bright, white, peaceful light. Feel this peace move down to your stomach, filling your stomach with bright, white, peaceful light, releasing any tension, any stress, any anxiety that you might feel at this moment. Feel this peace move out to your arms, down to your hands, down to your fingers. Maybe wiggle your fingers a little bit, rub them, give yourself a little hand massage. As you breathe in and out, feel this peace move down to your hips, to the seat beneath you, sinking you into your chair. As you breathe in and out, feel this peace move down to your thighs, down to your knees, down to your calves, down to the bottoms of your feet, melting you further into your seat as you breathe in and out. Now let's just take in this bright, white, peaceful light, swirling every part of our bodies, covering us with peace, releasing any tension, any anxiety, any stress that you might feel at this moment. Just take it all in as we sit here in silence. Now we're going to imagine this ball of light that is covering us. It's at our feet. We're gonna bend over in our minds. If you wanna actually bend over, pick up this ball, hold it in our hands. This bright white ball of peace. We're going to send it out to all of our loved ones. If we have anybody in the homes with us right now, send this big, bright, peaceful ball of light to all of them. Any children, any adults, any animals, sending them all this bright, white, peaceful light. We're gonna take that bright, white, peaceful light. We're gonna send it to all of our family members and all of our loved ones who we can't be with right now. Send them this peace, this love. All of this peace, just imagine it covering them. All of our loved ones, near and far. We're going to take this bright white ball of peace. We're going to send it to all of our neighbors, everyone in our neighborhood, all of the homes, all of the schools, even though they're not open right now, to every building. Cover it with this bright, white, peaceful light. We're going to send this light out to every person in our city. Imagine it just rolling all over the city you're in, covering every person, every building with peace, with health, with love. And we're going to imagine this bright ball of peace covering every part of the state, sending it out to every part of the state, sending health, sending healing, sending peace, love to every part of the state. We're going to send it out to every state in the country, every city, every community, the whole world, just covered with peace and healing. As we breathe in and out, we're just going to imagine this bright ball of peace, throw it up in the air. Imagine it covering the heavens, every single part of the earth. Water, lands, beaches, just covered with peace and love and healing, health, as we breathe in and out. We're going to imagine this bright ball of light coming back into us. entering our heart. Bringing this back to us, filling our heart with this peace. We're just going to take a few more deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouths. Stretch out your arms. Stretch out your legs. Make circles with your shoulders. Show circles with your arms, your wrists. Wiggle your fingers. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Ooh, okay. So if anybody has any comments or questions or wants to talk about how that was for them, or I don't know if you have other things in the chat, whoever wants to organize that. Anybody wants to say anything?
I just wanted to say something really quickly. If people fell asleep, don't feel bad, because when you start out meditating, that does happen.
Yes.
So,
yes, there's always somebody that falls asleep. So don't feel, if you did fall asleep, that's fine. That's what your body needed. It's okay. It's
So we have, let me see, in the chat here, we have, or in the list here, we have Jason Belikov had a question or a comment.
Okay.
This is like the second time I've done this, and I don't know if you noticed that I was rolling my shoulders, and I did that the last time, and it still worked. Getting the clink, rolling my head, doing the shoulders. I can hear my shoulders crack.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes your muscles, if you're not used to doing those moves, you'll hear some snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah.
It just means old age, right?
No, it just means you're relaxing enough for your muscles to relax themselves. And this actually took me back, because when I used to sing in choir, I remember when we were in the breakout rooms a couple weeks ago, I had told you guys that I sang. So one of the first things we used to do was the different types of deep breathing to loosen up our rib cages and to produce the sounds that we needed, including through your head box and stuff like that. So this just took me like way back.
To briefly say about JB, hey, my legs ligaments crack all the time, and I'm only 38. But I found that the peace and the roads were too distracting for me. So I've done meditation for quite a while, but I'm better at self-meditation. And what you did, Shameka, I've been feeling anxious and depressed for like 2, 3, 4 months. And this is the calmest, peaceful, less anxiety feeling I've ever felt in months.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it helped you. And just before we keep going with the questions and comments, I wanted to say, because you mentioned, you like self-meditation. There's so many different types of meditation out there. You can just do deep breathing. There's, you can use music, you can use guided meditation, like somebody walking you through it like I did. So there's so many different types out there that you can investigate and just find the one that works for you, and or maybe today you do this one, and then maybe tomorrow or another day you do a different kind.
And
so there's
so many phone apps for guided meditation apps.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's so much out there. There's lots of different things. Okay.
If you can send us some of those links to some of those different options, we could always forward those out to everyone.
Absolutely. I can definitely put something together. Yes, I can definitely do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And then I see Jonathan Ayala. I'm sorry.
I'll take it from here. That's that the term I chose was peace, love, and understanding, because we need it at this time.
Yes, we do. Yes. It's beautiful.
And then Danny Bailey was sharing that he had really missed this, missed being part of this. So yeah, thanks Danny for being part of it. And I let him know that Shameka, so all of you know, Shameka is agreed, and we're so delighted that she's going to come back every Wednesday. This Wednesday was really focused on this half-an-hour meditation. That's the big piece of the activity today. Other times she might come and do like a 15-minute segment, because we might have a different activity that will be the main focus. Like the next Wednesday, we'll have a big focus with the Strive for 5. Our Long Island friends will come back, and they're going to have a bigger opportunity for us to talk about the Strive for 5. So, but today this focus has been just amazing, and it's just really transitioned us from those really important advocacy pieces that we have to be talking about, and just transitioned us into that. Okay, we also need to think about ourselves and just kind of de-stress.
Yes, and that's very important. And I think the last time I did this at the conference, we talked a lot about, advocacy and self-care. It's important, we're all out there and we're doing our advocacy, and we're doing, and part of that is, taking that time, that your advocacy piece is taking time for yourself, letting people know, okay, I need 10 minutes. I need, like here, a lot of us live in group homes, right? And I live here with, different people. I mean, I have an apartment on my own, but there are those times where I need 30 minutes, and I'll put a sign on my door that says, please don't knock for this amount of time, because I'm taking this time for myself. And everybody knows if that sign is on the door, that they don't knock, that they'll come back or whatever. So that's part of advocacy too, right? Letting people know, what you need, and if it's some quiet time or whatever it is, letting people know that that's what you need. All right, do we have any other comments or questions?
It's Mike Rogers. I have a comment.
Sure.
For you. Do you offer any other guided meditations yourself, and are people invited to be a part of that?
Well, sometimes when I, can get myself together, I do them on my Facebook page. So and I do have a YouTube channel. So if you go on YouTube and you type in my name, you can find other videos and meditations that I've done there. And if you follow me on Facebook, and again, you can type my name in, and again, I can send all of this stuff out. So yes, so I do like I said, on the side of my job of working at SANYS and included, offer meditations and do meditations on the side as well. So there are other opportunities. If you're not following me on Facebook, you can do that. Or like I said, you can check out my YouTube channel as well.
See, I knew that, so I formulated a question for you, Shameka.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any final questions for Shameka? Because I'm looking through the list of people and I'm not seeing anything. Oh, Mohammed.
Yes, I was going to tell her, do you have Zoom classes on Zoom?
You know, I have thought about doing something in Zoom. I haven't done it yet, but it is something I'm thinking about. I would have to figure out that.
Yeah, I think you should consider it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Shameka. That was great. That is one of my most favorite, the visioning the ball thing is one of my most favorite forms of meditation. So
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It looks like Sophia found my channel. So,
okay. All right. Well, let's thank Shameka for coming on, guys.
I got one more thing.
You want to hear one more thing, Danny?
Yeah. I call it like get the book let me know when I will be able to come on. And when I came on, I have missed the whole area what you do a minute ago.
I'm very sorry, I'm not completely understanding. I think you said when you were able to come on, something happened a minute ago? Is that what you're? No, okay. I looked in the chat and I saw that you were sharing something in the chat. You go back to that and see if maybe you're supposed to join in after a different meeting.
When you had the governor came on.
After the governor, Daniel?
Yeah, and I just with the book let me know whenever a good time for calling. And I have missed the whole exercise.
So this was a good time to have the meditation after coming from the governor's?
Yeah, but yeah, but hope next Wednesday I will be able to.
The part about talking about how when we're going to be able to open, Daniel, and how it doesn't seem to be all at once and right away. That's what's stressing you out?
I heard you say, Danny, that you said that Christy let you know that you could still join, and you were thankful to her for doing that. Was I wrong about that? Okay.
Well, we definitely want to thank Shameka. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Shameka.
You guys, I enjoy meditation in my own life, so I enjoy sharing it with people.
Thank you, Shameka.
It's very powerful, and we really.
Thank you, Shameka. Thank you. Thank you, Shameka. You are great.
It's excellent.
It's me, Harvey.
Hi, good.
Thank you.
I know she's come to Long Island a few times,
That was
right?
a fun one for my first one.
All right, so I think we're going to transition again, right? So,
Yes, we're gonna transition, and while Danny will wait for you to type, and when we see it, when me or the ladies see it in the chat thing, we can maybe get you at the end there. But we're gonna transition over to Marilyn and the right of the week and the quote of the week. I always get those mixed up, but Marilyn's gonna do something. Marilyn.
All right, Sue, can you put it up? I can't find my piece of paper, please.
I can. Can you switch and make me host, Sophia?
I'm on it.
Thank you.
No, you guys are China's hospitals for children. has done so much for me and so many other kids. Because of people like you, trying to hospitals for children has helped more than 1.4 million.
If someone else can mute people, I'm not able to unless Sue makes me, or if Sue, you can make me the co-host.
Yes.
I know you're busy. But if maybe Dan or Cynthia can look and mute folks that are not speaking right now, that would be helpful. I'm not able. Thank you. You'll need to unmute Marilyn and Renee Christian.
Okay.
So yeah, that's good. All right.
Working on it.
No problem. I got a busy afternoon because I'm also working to go over microgrants.
Sue?
We're going to be
Oh, did we lose Sue?
microgrants.
Think
and
so.
people
Oh,
have
we
like
lost
some,
Sue. Cynthia, can you make me the host?
Yeah.
Or make me a co-host?
Yes.
All right. Looks like Sue might have lost her internet. And BJ, we hear you. So once you guys
BJ,
can do
we're gonna
that,
mute.
I'll be able to mute people. But if you can mute yourself, if you're not muted, that would be helpful. But then, yeah, if you just go, there I go.
Sophia.
Yeah.
Something is coming up as say muted, unmuted, or stay muted. I've done it about
I
twice.
know. Someone was struggling with the controls.
They
That's
cut
all.
it, JP.
It's okay now. It's okay now.
Okay.
So Marilyn,
Okay, so
you had I'm sorry.
that's okay. I was just seeing if we were ready or how we were doing.
Well, it looks, Marilyn, you were relying on Sue to bring up the right of the week. Is that right?
Yeah.
I might have it in my email. Let me just look real quick and see if I might have it. She might have sent. She did send it earlier.
Because it's got to do with the PPE.
Oh, okay, very good. Let me just see if we've got that, and I can bring it up. And if not, no, unfortunately, she didn't send the actual right. Maybe you can just try from memory, or if Renee is ready, maybe Renee would do her part.
Yeah, I can do my part.
Well,
You want Renee to go first, and then I will try and figure out what I have to do.
Okay, good. And she just sent it to me, so we'll here we go. Okay, I can share my screen actually. Sue just sent it, so she must have just had internet problems, which is just go with the flow. Let me see if I can find it.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Sophia, one thing I keep getting saying update Zoom. It keeps coming up on my screen saying please update.
Yeah, don't do that yet. Wait till later.
Right.
Great. Okay. And Sue got back on. I see we got it back. Okay. Are you seeing this?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Sorry, yeah, I totally lost. I just dropped right out. I apologize. Okay.
So the right that we are going to talk about today is from the OPWDD in their individual Bill of Rights, but everyone has the right. And I'm going to talk about right number 4, which is the right to choose what to wear and what personal hygiene supplies to use. Because we're all learning to make our own hand sanitizer right now. I'm using this because of the pandemic with the virus, that we all stay safe in our homes. So what I'm trying to do is make it so that people have the right to choose what personal protective equipment they want and how much they want. So like with making the hand sanitizer, how much hand sanitizer they want to make for themselves. So that is the right of the week.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And yeah, you need to, I just have to say, you need to want to make sure that you always discuss it with the people around you, that you have discussions about what you're comfortable with and what you can handle and what you can deal with and the best way to deal with this stuff. So that's just my thought on that.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Sophia? Hello?
Mohammed?
Yes, I was going to ask them, can we get a copy of the what do you call, the letter, like the what do you call, what she said?
Oh, the right. Can you get a copy of the right?
Yeah.
That comes from OPWDD. I'm sure we can get you a copy, but I think all OPWDDs have the same ones. So you can go to your local DDRO and ask for it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed.
Yeah, and Mohammed, we can share with you what we had up on the screen. Is that what you'd like to just have what we had up on the screen today? Okay, sure. We'd be happy to.
Okay. Thank you, Marilyn.
You're very welcome, Mike.
Now we're gonna move on to Renee. Renee.
Okay, so the bonus quote is, "You can, you should, and if you believe enough to start, you will," by Stephen King. And I want to have a little of a conversation of what that means to everybody. So if people can like think about that quote, and we can share a little bit of what that quote means to you and what it represents for each of us.
I apologize. Can you read it again?
Yep, it's "You can, you should, and if you believe enough to start, you will."
Thank you.
Let me see what we have here. If we have anybody with their hand up. I don't see anybody, but what I get out of that is just that is a quote that tells me that if I have a thought, if I have an idea, not to just sit on that idea, to actually act on it, because a lot of people have ideas and they say, this is what I want to do, but they never end up doing those things. And I think for a lot of people, and especially for some people with disabilities who have a lot of challenges, we sometimes mull over our challenges and we kind of don't move forward. So it's telling me to, if you got an idea, if you want to do something, move forward in doing that thing.
So what I took out of that quote too, and what really sticks out for me, is the part where it says, if you believe enough to start, you will. So we have to believe in ourselves as people with disabilities and start something that we want, that resonates to us. And if we start it for ourselves, then we can achieve it, right? So that's the big part that I take out of that quote too, is if we just believe enough in what we want to do and in ourselves, we can start anything and we will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one means a lot to me also. Because right now I'm working in conjunction with my occupational and physical therapist to try and modify a, God forgive me, I'm about to say this, I'm 39, but I still need it. In order for me to drink when I lay down, I have to use a 11 to 12 ounce sippy cup. However, the one I bought, even though it has the handles to hook onto my hospital rails, it leaks. So I contacted the company and I asked if there was like an O-ring that was supposed to be in it. And then I also was looking at it and I was thinking that if this was a few ounces bigger and maybe had a few modifications, it would be good for older children who have feeding issues and even adults who need to drink at night for medical reasons. It would be good because the things I liked about it is even though it has like the traditional sippy cup handles, they're removable and you could use it like a regular water bottle during the day and then use it with the handles at night. Some of the things I didn't like about it, like if you have feeding issues for kids and for young kids and older children, and again adults, it should have like a strip in it, like a clear strip because it's stainless steel, painted stainless steel, to let you see what's inside the container. So I'm in the process of calling the company to see if they would be willing to make modifications.
Cool. Very cool. All right, we have time for like one more comment on Renee's quote. So let me pick somebody here.
So Mike, we actually have time for a couple more. I just got a
we do
message
have time
from
for a couple.
Luther. He had to drop off just for a few minutes and he'll be back. So we do have a few extra minutes, okay?
Okay. One person we haven't heard from yet today is Michaela.
I think the quote reminds me that with this hard time with the COVID-19, that people with disabilities we're here with them. We're here with people with disabilities. We have a voice, and we like to actually, if other self-advocates like to talk about the COVID-19 with other people with disabilities, that's what it reminds me, that the quote is reminding me about.
Okay, thank you, Michaela. Did you have something to say, Dan? No. We have let's see, Alan.
It says in the box, I sometimes think about something on the idea, and sometimes I do and sometimes I do not. Okay. It just says, I sometimes think about something I feel on the idea and do not.
So you think about an idea, but then you decide sometimes you're unsure whether you should do it or not.
Great.
I think a lot of people have that experience. Ellen.
This quote, it makes me think of how sometimes self-advocates think of, maybe we should do it. Then they like, oh my God, together we can do it, but then we can't. We should put it on the back burner. Then they go, oh my God, we can do it together.
I like those thoughts, and one thing that I try to do for myself, and I teach other people, is to, when we think of an idea, we should think of like, okay, what is the first step that I could take towards the idea? We don't have to think about all the things we would have to do, but if we think about it in little steps, in smaller action steps, more that way than thinking about it as like a whole project, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah, that's a good point. Not everything Rome isn't built in a day, like they used to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike?
Yes, Mama.
To me, it sounds like the quote says to me, it's like, don't be scared of your goals, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jonathan was saying that, you know, his thoughts on the quote. Do you want to say them in person, Jonathan, or you want me to share?
Yeah. Dreams and beliefs are good, but we must have plans to achieve them. Without plans, the dreams ain't gonna happen. We gotta have long-term plans and short-term plans to achieve our dreams.
Yeah, yeah.
Renee, do you want to say anything to wrap us up? Because I see Luther has joined us again and he's ready to do the demonstration. But do you want to wrap up with any final thought?
I
have something to say. Ask.
Okay. Goals are important to set for anything we try to do, but we also want to focus on every day to get us towards something that we're working on. So if we change it to small action steps, it's easier to break down and to accomplish than if we can have those goals, those bigger goals, but we can change it to smaller action steps so that it's easier for us to achieve and accomplish.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Renee. Hope, I don't know what you're saying something about chat.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry. Getting back to the rides, the hand sanitizer. I can't get alcohol, so in a way, that right is being taken away from me to be able to make hand sanitizer.
Well, I think I wouldn't say a right's being taken away. I think the situations are difficult at the moment sometimes with supplies, but this is a great alternative to buying hand sanitizer.
But I can't buy the alcohol is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I understand that.
So, how do you make it without alcohol? Is there an alternative way?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Hope. We can look into that and find out.
Yeah,
But I think you check and see if maybe you're able to go online to get it. If maybe it's just not available in the stores right now.
It's not available online. You cannot get alcohol. I can't anyway. So
yeah, you can't get
taken away from me.
If you can't get straight medical grade alcohol, you can use certain types of dare I say it, liquor if you have any like clear, but you have to check the alcohol content.
I don't have liquor in my house.
Maybe
liquor stores are open.
No, I know, but I'm saying oh god, what's
what did they say? Whiskey or something?
Not whiskey,
beer,
vodka.
Vodka, yes.
Maybe we.
I don't want to have vodka. I'm not comfortable with it.
Not to drink. Again, my mom works in the medical profession. It's not to drink, not at all. But to sterilize any clear liquor like vodka, if it has a high enough alcohol content, will sterilize.
Maybe we can do additional research for you, Hope.
What Renee?
Oh, but we have to move on, guys, to Luther St. Joy. We got to give him his time.
Okay. Thank you, guys. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you, Luther?
Good. Do you see my face, Sue? Oh, you see
Not
the
quite
front.
yet. There you go. Hi.
Hi, guys. How's everybody doing?
Hey, Luther, it's been a while. It's been a million years.
I know.
Hello there.
Yeah, guys, let me just give you a quick update on how I'm doing. It'll be like 30 seconds. I've been doing all right. I'll take advantage of it to sleep and all that. So everything's going perfectly well with me. And I'm glad I'm here to show you the hand sanitizer. I hope you self-advocates are doing wonderful and everything is fine. So when you're ready, let me show you how to do it. Well, you ready? Ready for me to show you how to do it?
Go ahead.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right.
In the world of Michael Buffer, let's get ready to rumble.
Recipe. So
That
guys,
we lost. Oh, there we go. Okay.
yep. So I have I have a few things. I'm going to show you some things. So I have distilled water. It's not technically part of the recipe, but that's just one of the things you could use if you need it. There's an alcohol-based, it's a first aid type of thing, but it can also be used to make the hand sanitizer. So that's a hydrogen peroxide topical solution. That's something you can use to make it, okay? Now, they recommend that you have, at the very least, 70% alcohol. So this would be the 70% alcohol. So as you can see, I bought it before they ran out. So that's one of those things you can use. You don't have to make it 70%, but the research shows that 70% is more effective. And then this is the 50% mint alcohol. It's a wintergreen alcohol. You can find it in certain locations. And I don't have essential oil, but you can use like cooking oil. Like I use vegetable oil sometimes. That's totally okay. And I don't have the aloe gel, but a sunscreen can do. Or you can use lotion. I got this from the dollar store. But you know, as long as you get something similar or equivalent, it's totally okay. Now there are
We're having a little trouble hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, guys, want me to slow down? Let me know too. So there's 3 ways you can store the hand sanitizer. The first is you can put it in a water bottle, like you can have plenty, and this is empty, and it would turn out to something like this. Now, I have a little Vaseline in it, but of course, you just try again, of course. You could put it in a cup. You could put some sanitizer in a cup, and that's one of the things you can do. And lastly, you can put it in a bottle, like a travel compact bottle. So those are just some of the things you can use to make the hand sanitizer. So now we're going to make the hand sanitizer, and I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm used to talking fast. I don't know why. Well, we're going to do it step by step. Okay? So the first thing, now the measurements vary, whether you're making it for a whole house or for one person or whatever. So I'm going to make it based upon a one person. So this is what you do. You take the alcohol, okay? And you take the amount, like if you're making it for one person, it's not too much, but trial and error, okay? So this would be one person, what I just poured in, okay? I'm also going to add a little wintergreen mint. Now, the wintergreen mint is optional. It's actually optional, but you can put wintergreen, make it creative. Again, you don't have to put wintergreen mix, the alcohol, and again, with the alcohol, 70% minimum, but if you can't, 50% is okay too. Now, we're going to put some lotion. Of course, the gel or sunscreen works too, even the spray. Okay, we'll put some in. I'll put a little, yeah.
Do you know why are we putting in some type of moisturizer? Why are we doing that?
Good question, Sue. The moisture that we put in a moisturizer because it helps our hands, so it doesn't irritate our hands and it doesn't dry up our skin. Now, to be more specific, I'm of color. I'm of dark skin. So if there's any Black, brown, Latino viewers right now, This is especially important that you put at least a little bit of lotion, even if it's like.
We're losing your audio.
Okay, sorry.
Yep, there you go.
Somehow I'm putting my hand on the iPhone's microphone by mistake. But that is how, but you want to make sure you have a bit of moisturizer. And for the caregivers also listening, that's also important that you have some moisturizer component as well. Now we're going to put in the oil. I have cooking oil, so you can use cooking oil. It doesn't have to be essential oil. Okay, it can be vegetable oil, any kind of oil, even olive oil. That's another good moisturizer, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. All right, without putting my hand on the microphone, let me just show you. Okay. Now y'all got that, right? So what you now do is you stir or shake the sanitizer mix. Okay, guys? And it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so I'm going to shake it. We try to slow it down a bit so you can see for yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to put it in a cup. And again, you can put it in a bottle. You can put it in anything. Let me open the thing. While I'm at it, let me see if I can give you a good view whilst I'm waiting. So you're going to see a little green stuff, but that's the result you guys need. Does that make sense, everybody?
Well, yours happens to be colorful because of the product that you're putting into it, but you could also make it clear by using clear product, right? And here are the, do you want me to share the specific ingredients from the recipe that CBS was sort of like you saw that and that's what made you think to make this?
Please do.
Okay, so I put it in the chat as well, but it would be for your hand sanitizer recipe, you would want 2/3 cup rubbing alcohol or some type of alcohol that would be at least 70%, right? And again, we're not using this to drink. We do not want to drink this. This is only for your hand.
It's poison
okay?
anyway.
Yeah, it would not be for consumption, okay? It's just
now
for
let
your
me,
hand.
Now let me, Sue, do you mind if I quickly wrap this up with washing my hands? Is that
yes.
okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Right, guys. So you guys have a great day, but let me show you the end result. There you go. And may this be a reminder to wash your hands and stay safe, y'all.
Yes. Very good. I'm just going to give you the rest of that recipe quick. So again, 2/3 cup rubbing alcohol, 1/3 cup aloe vera gel, mix together, stirring well. Add 5 to 10 drops of essential oil or some other type of oil, and then put the mixture into a bottle using a funnel, and you can make a hand sanitizer label and place it on the label so you don't forget what that is in that bottle. You don't want to drink it. It's not for consumption, okay? So
hey, Sue, can you send it to us?
Yep, I can definitely send that for you. Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any questions for me?
Good job, Luther.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Luther. That was great.
That was excellent.
Thank you. Thanks, Christy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh. Hope you're doing all right.
I'm hanging in there.
Okay.
And one last quick little reminder, we just want to remind everybody that rubbing out the hand sanitizer is great when you can't get to water and soap, but really the best thing to always do is to actually wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, okay? But the hand sanitizer is a great second choice if you can't get to the water and soap, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys stay
Thank
safe.
you so
Thank you.
much. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any final thoughts, Sue, before we wrap up?
I just want to let people know that Luther has agreed next Tuesday. We haven't decided a time yet, but we're gonna offer a Zoom next Tuesday for about an hour that where people can work together, I'll send out that ingredient list and you can get your own ingredients and we can all make hand sanitizer together next Tuesday. So I will be sending that out to people to know when they can participate if they'd like to make their own. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks,
All
Luther,
right.
for doing that. Thank you so much, Shameka. Thank you very much,
I have
Marilyn and Renee. Thanks,
I have
everyone.
something to say real quick.
What is it, Michaela?
Now we have was it moment of silence because our former board member Larry Green that just passed away this week, and I just found out, and it makes me upset that he passed away, or
Sure.
because we found out.
Yeah, do you want to lead that, Michaela? As a
Yes.
past board member? Okay.
He was a past board member that lived in our region, and he was the previous board member he was the former board member, Larry Green, before I came on the board, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was, and it was upsetting for me.
Mm-hmm.
We can understand that.
Yeah. So do you want to lead us in a moment of silence then?
Everybody, moment of silence.
Thanks, Michaela.
Thank
Thanks. That was very, very thoughtful. And I'm
Who
sure
is
that he
this
would really
person
appreciate
that
that.
passed?
What's that?
What
Hope?
happened?
What's this person's name again?
Larry Green.
His name is Larry
I
Green.
know him.
Hope if you want to read about Larry, there is a post on our Facebook page with Larry's picture, or anybody that wants to read about Larry. There is a post on the, and then the regional coordinators that are on, they can also share that if they haven't already, so other people will know who Larry was.
He was a board member that took way before I came on the board, and he lives in the Hudson Valley, and he was the previous board member, and I just found out this week from Cynthia.
Yeah, it just happened this week.
Yeah.
The question that we ask the people.
Excuse me, this is Harvey calling.
Hi, Harvey.
Hi.
Yes, Harvey.
Yes, I saw in the email, Mike, that Larry Green died on May 4th, but it said Sunday. May 4th was the Monday. Which day did he die? Did he die on a Sunday or a Monday?
He died Sunday. I'm sorry.
That Sunday was May 3rd.
Okay, Sunday. Apologize for that.
Good. It was a Sunday when he died?
Yeah, it was just a typo, that's all.
All right, so then it was May 3rd, not the 4th. And do you know how old he was?
No, Harvey. No.
No, we do not.
No. I guess not all people tell you their age.
No. I think
No.
somebody else was trying to say something before.
I was just going to share that in the chat box, somebody had asked if we knew if he had died of COVID or if it was other reasons.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah,
Was
so
he did pass away with COVID. Yes.
You see?
Wow.
Every time I hear about somebody dying of COVID, including one of my cousins, I always think about myself as being very lucky and quite fortunate. Because I try to follow procedures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's why I waited until the end.
No, it's not hurting anybody's feeling, and we will keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and I can understand everybody being upset about that. That's
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Harvey, I really like how your perspective on that, right? Is that, you know, as we think about this, that we can be really grateful. We can be grateful for what we have, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, guys,
For the time we had with Larry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We've come to an end of our meeting
I
today.
think we're good.
But thank you everybody for coming. You're taking the time to come out, and we're not
For
coming
having
out, come on, and we really thank you. And you know, come on to all of our meetings. That, you know, that we've listed over our region. We want you to feel included, especially during this time when we do have hard news and different things like that. We need people, right? So feel free to come on. You don't always have to say anything. Don't always feel like you have to say anything when you come on. Just come on and join us, and we'll get through this together, as Fred Rogers would probably say. So I have to say something like that. But
Danny is saying, remember Friday, this coming Friday, 1 to 3.
yes,
Thanks, Danny.
Friday. I'm sorry, so I didn't do the promo. 1 to 3. Come on.
What is are you talking about Friday, May 8th?
Yes.
1 to 3. There's another Zoom. We have another Zoom going.
SANYS has Zooms every Wednesday and Friday.
Yes.
So we're
Bye,
gonna
everyone.
Bye.
I will unmute everybody. Everyone can say goodbye.
because I have a
Bye, everyone.
At 4 o'clock.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you,
I'll see you at 4 o'clock. So.
I just want to say hi, Sue.
Sue, I cannot get on it.
I'll see you
Bye,
Friday.
Sophia.
Bye,
Right.
Yes.
Even it's not an open meeting.
Mike.
Right.
Yeah. Later on for the region.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Russell.
I'll send it for you. No worries. Yep.
Bye, Jason.
At 4 o'clock. And I'll be sure it should have gone to Wendy, but I'll give you a call when we get done with this and make sure you have it, okay?
I'll be there, Suzanne.
Go on.
Hey, Beach.
It is actually on that paper too, yes.
Okay.
I'll give you a call, okay?
Bye, Sue. Bye,
Bye.
Sophia.
Good to see you. Thanks, Michaela.
Take care, everybody.